shine on Happy Camper Life. We're loving, living, and learning online on Happy Camper Life.
Hi, I'm Allison Miller. Welcome to the Raising a Happy Camper podcast here at Happy Camper Live. And I am really excited today to be here with Jill Bucaro of Wellness Riot. And we are going to have a really great conversation. I know that already. So welcome, Jill.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, so tell us about Wellness Riot.
So Wellness Riot is my business. I'm an integrative health practitioner and coach, and I love working with moms. I love working with families because I think that moms tend to not prioritize their health. So I like to help moms do that and understand that when their health is on top and they can still make their health a priority and take care of the kids and run to 17 different things and have a career and all of the things that moms do. It doesn't mean that their health needs to go to the bottom of the list. And then in addition, regardless of who you are, when you want to be healthy, when you want to take steps to become a healthier person, it's helpful when everybody in your house is on board. Right. So I like, incorporating everybody in the household and how they can kind of support each other and how it can be beneficial and enjoyable for everybody. So moms, families, kids, I think too, health starts with kids. When you grow up, with a healthy mindset or maybe a fast food mindset, I feel like that carries over into adulthood. So if we can get them to be just encouraged and loving, these health promoting foods and understand like why we eat foods, like, of course, we want them to taste good, but they're really fueling our body and letting us do the things that we want to do, be creative, run and play and all that good stuff. So I love all that. I think
That's
starting
awesome.
is important. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as you're saying that, I'm like, oh my gosh, I wish I had met you. And I was, my kids are 28 and 18 and 21 and 28. And, I was a working mom, I still am, but my health definitely fell to the bottom of the what do you call it? Of the ladder of importance or.
Oh yeah. You're eating in the car, you're eating the crust of the peanut butter and jelly sandwich, or the 2 bites of macaroni that are left over. I mean, I've been there too. I'm not like immune to this. That's why I understand like how moms are and, how we can get to a point where like, why am I eating the crust of a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, for the 4th day in a row, right?
Yeah.
Like running from thing to thing.
Well, I do something where I put these rules in place for myself and I don't know, it's just what I do. You could call them rules or just structure. And one was when my daughter was born, I decided that I was never going to eat her food. And so I was never going to eat the peanut butter and jelly sandwich, like what was left over or make for myself what she was eating. And I tried to have her eat healthy things, but kids want pizza, whatever. But I made that like one of my rules. And if there was anything left over that I wasn't going to eat it or take a couple of bites. So it's funny that you mention that because I'm sure like in the interest of just time and, you're just hungry and I always take care of my kids before I take care of myself. So their dinner's all ready and I'm like, no, what am I going to eat? So I totally get that.
Yeah, exactly. And for waste too, where that you make something, they try, a bite, they don't like it. It's like so hard to throw, food away like day after day. So I think it's, there's a bunch of reasons why you might find yourself doing that. That's a good rule though. Like I haven't heard anybody say that, like, I'm not going to eat their food. I like that.
I never did. I had another rule, but my other rule was that I was never going to drink wine by myself because I felt, I don't care if people do or don't, but that was my second rule because I was like, I just found like it was going to, a lot of moms, to be honest with you, a lot of moms that I knew were like 5 o'clock would come, the kids were home, everybody's eating and they'd pour a glass of wine and start making, I was like, I'm not doing this. So if I have this rule that I don't drink wine by myself, I won't be sort of incorporating it into my daily habits. So that was my second rule. So those are the rules I've lived by and I still live by today. And maybe when I have grandchildren, I won't be off of their plates either. But it really, it made me think that when you mentioned a kid not eating, like not liking what you make, that is probably the hardest thing that I deal with at summer camp. Like kids, is it me, Jill, or are kids just getting pickier and picky? Like what's happening with all that?
Oh, okay, there's a lot, but I will say that the food has changed. Like
Okay.
that has just changed over, say, decades, maybe generations. Most of the food that we have now, is processed, it's packaged, it's artificially dyed, it's artificially sweetened, it's artificially flavored. That just wasn't the case. And not to say there wasn't that stuff when we were kids, but over time it has become, I feel like, the norm. So that's one thing. The food is truly changing to something more processed and less, they're food like and not quite food always, the products. Wow. So that's one thing. I think that we've become a lot busier as humans, as moms, as families, as parents. We have 2-income families a lot, or we have lots of activities we're running here and there. So the time to cook is not there anymore.
Right. So true.
Yeah, I mean, so there's a couple of reasons, but I think really like the big picture is that we just don't give kids enough credit for what they'll eat. We have been told by whomever, billboards, TV, our parents, like they're going to have macaroni and cheese and they're going to have peanut butter and jelly with the crust cut off and, pizza and hot dogs and like, that's it. And that's not true. That's just not true. But that's what we think. That's what we've been told. So that's what we say and that's what we serve. And like, guess what? That's what they like, because that's what we've been kind of telling them that they, that's what they like. I think too, I have this talk in my head, and it's going to be called "The Way We Talk About Broccoli Will Change the World." Because if you think about, when I was a kid, most people I know, it's like, you got to have the broccoli, you got to eat this, then you can have this. It's so foundational, but like, think about what we're telling them, right? We're like, you got to have the broccoli. That's the bad thing. That's the chore. That's what you have to do. And then you get the cookie, right? And that's then like you get dessert, right? And that's the prize. And that's like the awesomeness, right. And all of that, and it's at home, but it's also, like, it's not like, hey, great job, team. We won the game. Like, let's go out for asparagus. No, like we go out for ice cream, and it's like, if you get good grades, like, let's go, let's bake brownies. Let's have a cake. If you're sad, how about, so I think it's really like these very innocent ways that we're talking about food that gets in, the kids' head and our heads too. I mean, like, right. Like, we're not going to be like, oh, I'm so sad. And, I just had a tough day. Like, I could really just dive into a salad. It's like, no, you want chocolate, right? You want what? Right. So it's like, that goes with you. So it's just, I think, how we approach the food and how we talk about it. And it's not good or bad. And it's not, prize or, punishment. It's just, talking about food as though like it's going to be, it's fueling your body and it's going to let you do, like I said, the things that you want to do. And you can, so, and I think, we're not always the best role models either, right? Like, we can't be bagging on spinach and then expect our kids to want a whole bunch of greens, right? Or want vegetables. Right. So, we kind of got to play that role too, which for some parents is, you got to take a look in the mirror, like, ooh, maybe I'm not eating that good either.
I really think what you said is important. Like, you do need to give kids a lot of credit, like, for understanding more than you like. Well, they do understand. Like, I have a lot of trouble at camp getting kids to try things. I just do. And if I have one kid that like yucks, and I have the same, like, we're not yucking the yum, someone else's yum, because there'll be kids who will like something, and then another kid's like, oh, you like it. And I had these kids, I called them last year my kittens, because they all just started, like, one kid wouldn't eat, and then the next one, and the next one. And then they would like come, like, like by the door to get like the little snacks that they thought they could get if they like were in, it would like, and they became like this whole group of like kittens. I don't know. It was really funny. And I'm not sure I should be sharing all this, but anyway, what I found was that when I finally had all the kittens together, because I was like, all right, we're just going to gather everybody up, I started talking about protein, and I'm like, this is what protein is, and this is why we need it, and this is why you're hungry. And if this is what you're eating, just pasta, and then you think you're going to play baseball and you're going to like, play your best, and what is it going to feel like after that? And, and then I saw that when kids saw other kids eating and willing to try, and the big thing that stands out in my head was tuna fish, right? Like, that's a very polarizing like thing. And, it did have a lot of mayo in it, I will admit, but like eating tuna fish is a lot better than just having a piece of pasta, like in your sort of day, just carbs and all that. So I remember all of a sudden, all the kids were discovering how great tuna fish was. And it was the funniest thing, like you've never tried tuna fish, But parents these days don't really push the kid. I don't want to try it. It smells funny, whatever it is, But I do see when kids see other kids. So maybe we get your kid, who I know well, does the thing and eats the broccoli, because I bet he likes broccoli and he's telling the kids how great it is. Maybe we should be doing that on a podcast,
Totally. He and I cooked together, but it took me, it was one of those like moments where I was like, okay, we got to finish dinner and then you can have this. And it just struck me. It was just one of those things that I was like, oh my gosh, I get it. I get what and everybody's doing it. It's like, we're all doing it, you guys. Like, I wanted to like go around with a megaphone. I'm like, we're doing it wrong. We're doing it wrong. And we just started to talk about food, like in just like, do you want this or this? Not like, you're not going to like this, or you got to try it, or I'm not sure. It's just like, give it a try. And it also takes a couple tries. I tell adults too, like, I'm like, if you, drink bourbon, if you drink beer, like you can't tell me you liked it on the first try, right? Like you probably didn't, but you put your time in and you tried, right? And now you like it. So it, sometimes it just is like a taste bud thing, and also being, understanding if they truly don't enjoy something, that's okay. There's not everybody's going to like everything. Like, great, it's not for you now. You can try reintroducing it, in a year, in 2 years, like taste buds change. I know I like a lot of things now that I didn't like as a kid, or so there's, it's not a forever thing necessarily, but also, giving them some autonomy and some choice in a lot of things is helpful, food especially. So, getting them in the kitchen, having them prepare the meals, go shopping with you. Do you want carrots or would you like broccoli? What do you want?
Right, let them, that's a great idea, letting them chat with you. I had another rule. I guess I have a lot of rules. I just didn't realize it until this podcast. But my other rule I got from Montessori schools. My daughter went to Montessori school when she was younger. And they had like a 3, like you had to try it 3 times because of the fact that, the taste buds like adapt to, and so I kind of have that rule too. Do you think that's, I don't put it in like, hey, you have to try it 3 times, but I will definitely say, it's not 3 bites in a row. It's not that. It's just, well, I tried that before. So when the kids may have said to me, oh, I've had tuna fish before, I said, well, let's try it again. And then maybe a few days later, I thought, let's give that another try. By the time they tried it the 3rd time, the kid that didn't want to have it, they're typically more open to eating it.
Yeah, it does take multiple like exposures to a food sometimes for them to like it. Like more than 3, sometimes 5, so don't give up. And I think what you said is right. It's not like I want you to try it 5 times at this meal.
Right. Like take 3 pieces of broccoli and think you're okay. Like that's not the point.
Yeah, let's try it again next week. And then we're going to make it again next week, or tomorrow. And like, let's just keep, trying it. And then, but again, like really being open to them being like, I don't like it. Okay, great. Let's try something else. And that's the thing too. I think even the pickiest eaters that I've worked with had like 1 or 2, like healthy foods, like they like strawberries, they like bananas, they like sweet potatoes, they like corn, like they like something. And so I think as parents, like jump on that, you know what I mean? Like have that in your house, like all the time. I get strawberries aren't seasonal, but do the best you can and really emphasize like, oh my gosh, well, you like strawberries, you might like raspberries,
right?
And you can use that to kind of build on.
Yeah, no, that is a good point. And I think that I find that if I have things in my fridge that are healthy choices and I'm hungry, I also say this at camp, if the kids are hungry, they're going to eat. The kids will eat, like even the pickiest kid is going to eat. They're not going to not want to eat something. And maybe it wouldn't have been their choice over chicken nuggets and French fries, but they're going to eat and they'll start seeing the other choices that weren't there before. So I think keeping those things in front of the kids is a really smart idea, making sure your refrigerator has those things. So Tell me, because we don't have a lot of time today, so we may have to continue, but like candy to carrots. Tell me
Okay.
about candy to carrots.
So Candy to Carrots is my online video series that kind of walks parents through some of what we were talking about. So my kid won't eat anything, right? Only is on the all candy diet, or, maybe they'll dabble in a few things, or they're really picky, or like they do okay, but I'd like to know what the next step is.
Right.
So it's really kind of like a step process, and some ideas on how to think and then what to implement. So, like how we talk about foods, how we don't give kids enough credit. Like I go through the why, the impact on their health. The impact on their health is significant on what they eat, and the stats are not good, obesity and, things like ADHD and allergies and you name it are on the rise. And I mean, significantly on the rise, not, so I think there's just a big why, like as to why would I make you go through this as a parent? I know it's not going to be fun, but it's so important. So we go through that. And then it's just steps, like introducing, like I said, if they identify the foods they like that are healthy and really focus on that and, encourage those, take things slowly. I talk about taking things one step at a time. Like we don't need to flip our whole menu like overnight. Nobody's going to be happy. That's too hard.
So true.
It's too hard for, kids are going to be like, I don't think so. So I just give like some ideas and some tips on like how to incorporate this slowly so that you can stay sane as a parent. You can still go to school, you can still go to work, you can still do activities, but like slowly over time, you can start incorporating these ideas, like how to incorporate vegetables, what ingredients to avoid. If your kids like macaroni and cheese, maybe do an organic, one made with organic ingredients.
Yeah.
And just do that, just leveling up some of the ingredients and getting some of the junk out is a great step. So
even like cauliflower mac and cheese, there's so many ways to make things now that's just like creative and healthier, and we have so much more access, and our way of thinking has changed. Jill, what I find so interesting is something you said earlier on, which was, I think of my grandmother cooking, dinner, probably for my, back then, and they'd spend the whole day, like, hours, the pot on the stove. And then you said like, yeah, and like, we just like, to me, like, I just have to serve dinner. Like my goal is to make sure, nothing's spoiled, nobody gets sick. Like, I'm not a chef. I'm just like, everybody, like, I got dinner on the table. That's like a crazy working, mom, I'm a workaholic, blah, blah, blah. And, and that everybody survives the meal. But that makes it, I'm not saying everybody has that pressure, but it's just different. It is a different world, and we have to like get the food, and the kids also are on their way to tennis and soccer. And so you're trying to feed your kid in this tiny little window of time.
Yes.
And I think that's the point. Like, and truthfully, I'd be like, if I prepped all day and my kid didn't eat what I was doing, I'd have a whole bunch of other issues going on. So I'm thinking it's probably okay that I'm not prepping all day and I'm just trying to put it together. But there's a lot to be said around things are different. And that is my big takeaway from what you're saying. And we as parents, we need to adapt to the way foods are now, the way our kids are, the way our schedules are, and the way our lives are.
Yeah. Absolutely. And there are ways to do it that don't involve that much time, don't involve that much money, and still get you something that, you enjoy, that's, beneficial, right? In a health regard for your family. It is possible. I promise.
Yeah. Well, there might be a part 2 here, so we could give some tips, because you and I have definitely pulled the rock up, and there are a lot of squirmy, ugly little things that have come out, or Simon might think they're pretty cool, creepy, crawly things. But we've just like discovered, there is a lot of like yuck here. So I think we can call this from yuck to yum. And maybe like next episode, we can get to the yum. Okay. It would be really great. So part 2 for you too. Awesome. And, let's catch up like on your next stop on your adventure.
Okay.
And you are amazing. You're an amazing mom, and you're amazing, contributor to parents right now. And I want to make sure that the yum gets out there now that we really yucked it up. Okay.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Jill, Where can people find you? Why don't you let everybody know?
Yeah, so I'm at Wellness Riot, RIOT as in super fun, .com.
Awesome. Wellnessriot.com. And
And then
Jill,
on
thank
Instagram
you.
as well.
Say that again.
Wellness Riot on Instagram as well.
Oh, of course, on Instagram too. So we'll be following you. We want everybody to check out your website, watching some amazing videos, and stay tuned for our young part of our podcast. We will be back, Jill and I, and yeah, can't wait. So thank you for being here, Jill, and for everybody listening. This is Allison Miller. I'm the founder of Happy Camper Live, and this is the Raising a Happy Camper podcast. You can find us wherever podcasts are found, and also check out our really cool YouTube channel. So thank you again, Jill.
Thank you, Allison.
Take a moment to shine on Happy